Hello and welcome to this week's 2-minute Parsha. Last week Parshas Lech Lecha ended with the circumcision of the household of Avram. In this week Parshas Vayeira, brace yourself for a fast-paced and packed Parsha. First Hashem appears to Avram on the third day of his bris milah. Then, at the heat of the day, 3 men appear, so he invites them in for a feast. After a joint effort of Avram, Sarah and Yishmael, they prepare this extravagant feast. They sit down to eat, and one of the guests tells Avram and Sarah that this time next year they are going to have a son. Hashem condemns Sarah for her reaction to this news, but Sarah denies that she laughed. 2 of the guests then left for Sodom. Hashem reveals to Avram that he has plans to destroy Sodom. Avram tries multiple times to pray on the behalf of Sodom, but to no avail. The people of Sodom were too far gone. Upon arrival in Sodom, 2 angels from Abraham, they were welcomed by Avram's nephew Lot, and they were given a feast. The residents of Sodom were angry at this, and they moved on Lot's house, demanding that he release his unwanted guests and give them to him. Nothing Lot could offer them would calm them down and would satisfy them. Eventually, the angels went out and made all the people of Sodom blind. They hit them all, and they made them blind so that they could no longer find Lot's home. Lot and the angels gathered together his entire family, all but his 2 son-in-laws. At daybreak, at dawn, they leave the city, and they were commanded also not to look back, and they flee the city to the city of Zoar. Hashem then destroys Sodom and all its surrounding areas. Lot moves to the mountains and settles in a cave, and his daughters are fearful that the entire world's population have been destroyed besides them, so they hatch a plan to have kids from their father Lot. The first daughter has a son who she names Moav, and the second daughter has a son who she names Ammon. Back to Avram, he travels to the south, and the local king Avimelech abducts Sarah. Hashem appears to Avimelech in his dream and tells him that he would die if he did anything to her. And so Avimelech returns Sarah to Avram, and he complains, "Why did you mislead me into thinking Sarah was your sister?" Then Avimelech showers Avram with presents, and finally Avram davens to Hashem to heal Avimelech and all the people from the afflictions that have been brought upon them because of this episode. Yitzchak is born to Avram and Sarah. At 8 days old, he has a circumcision, and then Avram throws a weaning party for Yitzchak, and Sarah sees that Yishmael, the older son from Hagar, is a bad influence on Yitzchak, and she convinces Avram to send them away. They are sent away, and in the desert they run out of water, and they sit under a tree and they pray to Hashem. The prayers of Yishmael are heard, and an angel comes and tells Hagar that Yishmael will become a big nation, to open up her eyes and to look, and behold, there will be a well where she went and they drank and saved his life. Yishmael grows up, the Torah tells us, he becomes an archer, and he lives in the desert. Next, Avimelech and Avram make a pact. They come to an economic agreement over 7 lambs, and they swear on it, and they call the place where they made this agreement Be'er Sheva. They both then move to the land of the Plishtim. After this, finally, Hashem appears to Avram and tells him to take Yitzchak, his son, to Mount Moriah, to Har Moriah, to sacrifice him for Hashem. Avram wakes up early the next morning to do so, and after 3 days' travel they arrive there, and just when all is ready, when Yitzchak is tied up on the altar and Avram has the knife in his hand, ready to go, the angel calls up to him and tells him to stop, and he tells him that he has now passed his test. Avram instead sacrifices a nearby ram, and the angel calls out to Avram and tells him that in this merit he will be blessed and he will multiply. Avram returns to Be'er Sheva, and the parsha finally ends, and Avram finds out about the birth of Rebekah to his brother's grandson Besuel, and more of that family's lineage. In summary, Hashem and the 3 angels with the news of the birth of Yitzchak come to Avram. 2 angels go to save Lot and turn over Sodom. Lot's daughters have 2 sons with him. We have in the episode of Avimelech and Sarah the birth of Yitzchak, the expulsion of Yishmael and the subsequent events from that. Avram and Avimelech reach a pact. We have the story of the Akedah and the birth of Rivka. Good Shabbos.